Hi, folks. Okay, so let's start with some basic rules of capitalism for green here. If you want to follow along, I'll start simple so that it's easy to follow regardless of how you got here. Also, I'm in a very kindergarten level of technology here, so it'll be difficult for me to get too fancy right now. So, we'll start with there's a landing page for the whole shebang, which is linked in the show notes. That's the pile of words. It's under the podcast picture of, wherever you're getting your podcast words come at you into your eardrum kind of thing. So that landing page takes you to what I will call the Patreon. That's the service that I use for the website. The website is connected to the podcast. It is all linked. Here's a rule. If you have a question, ask it. If you don't know what a Patreon is and you want to know, you can ask me. You can ask your favorite search engine. You can ask your favorite go-to question answerer. But if you ask me, please know that if I don't already know the answer, then I'm going to do my best to figure it out and get back to you. If it's a matter of me just making a small change to the way that I do things so that it makes more sense, then I will do that. It is so much easier for me to know when I'm not making sense when someone tells me that I'm not making sense. So please, just ask. Also, questions are encouraged here, and in fact, that's another rule. If you get bonus points for asking questions, because that's what I'm really good at. So I'm trying to give myself some extra points here because I'm starting at negative a lot. If your question is related to this project, I'll do my best to get that question answered on the record. So ask away and hang in there with me because it might take me a minute to find the right, expert out there to get your question answered. But if it gets asked, please know it's going to go on this big large document full of questions, and we'll just chug through them as much as we can in a way that makes the most sense. Next rule. If you are interested in the audio podcast, then follow, subscribe as normal through whatever podcast app, platform, website, thing on your phone that you use. Make sure that you follow and subscribe so that you see when new episodes come out. Like every other podcaster out there, it really does help the algorithm gobbledygook stuff work better if you rate it and leave a review so it's easier for people to find. I think it's proof to the computer gods that you're listening and you like it, so they recommend it to other people that might also be interested in. And if that's not the way it works, don't worry. I actually asked someone to explain to me how the internet worked within the last year. So maybe I'll catch up to algorithms eventually. And in fact, when I was typing all of this up so I could get my brain words into words so that they come out as verbal words, I realized in real time that algorithms is not spelled like it rhymes with rhythm, which is a little confusing to me, so maybe I'll just also take an English class while I'm at it. I digress. But that's actually a good next point. I will readily admit that I don't know much about a lot of different things, so I'll be doing my best to pull in all the people that do know a lot more than me. And we are so very thankful that there are so many people out there who know so much more than me. We'll talk to them, we'll get right to the source. We can all just, learn together here, should that be something that we're all collectively interested in. Please know that I truly believe that we all approach things differently. We all have varied experiences. We all have varied opinions. So please, 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 pretty please be nice and respectful, especially to the people that choose to join us in the Capitalism for Green world ecosystem. And in the words of one of my very, very favorite podcasters, Karen Kilgareth from My Favorite Murder, if you don't like that, please very kindly get the fuck out. And I mean that with all of the respect and the love in the world. And that is a great next rule. There might be swearing, because I am an adult who can open her own business and get a little stressed and emotional about it sometimes. Also, this is my show, and I make the rules here. So maybe consider if you want your kids to listen, or you can't tolerate that, because I can't guarantee that no one here will swear. And actually, I can guarantee that at least I will, because, I already have. So, if you are still listening, and you also want to see what I look like in real life, you can watch on video found on the Patreon website. You do have to pay for that because, again, I make the rules, and if I'm going to let you see me sometimes with makeup on and my hair tamed, but mostly in my glasses and a t-shirt on, then I'm going to charge you for that. And this whole thing takes time and effort, and I'm a very firm believer that people should be paid for their time and effort. I get that not everyone thinks like that, is in the position to pay for it, or at all cares. So the audio version is free. That's another rule here. Information shouldn't be gatekept, so the barrier for entry here is free for the basics. Speaking of things you could pay for, there's a weekly blog that you can also pay for on the Patreon website. That also costs money because it's pretty personal to me, and as a human, I put a lot of thought, effort, and my entire human person into that part of it. I really care about it being real and real entertaining, so consider it a cover charge if you want to enter that comedy club that's sometimes funny and sometimes akin to watching a cringy, also almost disaster via writing kind of thing. I'm gonna misspeak and just, stumble over my words a lot, because again, I'm a real human, not an AI. That's the world that we're living in here. Thought that needed to be clear if it's not already. Next rule is really me just speaking a rule out loud to myself. When this thing really kicks off and there's more to know and see and do, I will let you know. The whole goal is that I open a store and use this to show you what it's really like, how I'm doing it, and how other people are doing it. So when there are stores and websites and things to mindfully consume, should you choose to mindfully consume, there will be links in the show notes and wherever else it makes sense. When people join us that want to be found, I will let you know where to find them. Next rule. Follow the project on Instagram. It's not really a rule, but more like a request, and I'm attempting to disguise this rule. I know that there are other kinds of social media, and I'm dabbling in some of those and some of the other kinds of projects, but I'm a woman with boundaries here, and that is one that I am just drawing. It will only be on Instagram unless it explodes into an empire, and I can pay someone who really loves and is good at social media to run those things, but for now, I'm agreeing to Instagram. Speaking of dabbling in other things, I do other things. This project grew out of the Capitalism for Good project, like a beautiful flower springing out of a cactus that will never get watered at the appropriate rate, surprisingly, and for anyone that walks by to watch and wonder. Capitalism for Good is a multimedia series of 100 interviews with business leaders making a positive impact on their community. It's one of the greatest joys of my life, and you can listen to interviews in your podcast players, you can watch it on YouTube, you can read the transcripts on the Capitalism for Good Patreon website. That's a whole other series, plus a bonus between the interviews series on a different Patreon page. Again, links to all those things in the show note. And you can also do what you do with social media on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. For more information on the Capitalism for Good website, you can get all the things there. Please note, the social media things might change, because if I can't keep up and it's not worth it, then I'm probably going to give up on one of those at some point. Again, unless this whole thing explodes and I can pay someone, who is good at and likes to do those things, and I'll let them thrive in the world that they thrive in, that I, quite frankly, very obviously do not. So, there is also what I call the touchy-feely sister project that showcases the human side of all this businessy stuff that's run by humans, called Bittersweet Paradox. It also has its own Patreon website, so we can attempt to keep a work-life balance over here. Consider that the personal side of it, like real personal life. Like, you can read my actual real-life journal entries if you join the writing club, because I'm insane and I thought that that would be a good idea to let people see that. I do end each of them with a prompt, which is my attempt to turn the tables on you, but only if you want to. I am a former college sorority girl who was hazed in her freshman year, but like the kind of hazing that was like, get on your knees and drink, bitch, but only if you want to. So I apply a very similar philosophy here. Bittersweet Paradox also has a podcast component where we talk about the kinds of things in our lives that make us cry really ugly tears, but then also laugh 2 minutes later, because life is complex and absurdly funny things happen even when it feels like your entire world is crumbling down around you. That podcast has absolutely no schedule for when new episodes drop, because there are enough deadlines and sources of pressure in our life that I refuse to add another one that means literally nothing. New episodes will come out when they're good and ready to come out. Please and thank you. Final rule. Please don't complain to me that these aren't really rules. I know. But again, I make the rules here, so that's what I'm calling each of these points. Again, I'm going to quote Karen Kilgariff here. If you don't like that, please kindly get the fuck out. And I say that, again, with all the love and respect in my heart and my brain and my person and in my soul. This is not easy for me to show how often I screw up and look like an idiot and misspeak and stumble over my words, but I'm trying to grow and evolve over here, and my fragile millennial white girl ego can only take so much cyberbullying. So please go somewhere else if that's something that you're into. Also, I lied, there's another rule, but again, it's for me. I'm going to do my best to thank you and everyone involved as much as possible, because I truly appreciate anyone and everyone that answers all of my questions, that listens to me, that reads what I write, that laughs at my mediocre jokes. So thank you, thank you, thank you, truly thank you. And all right, that's enough. Let's go leave this place better than we found it.